What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. It is Thursday, it is match day. Arsenal against FC Zurich, the final game of the Europa League. Go and pick up 3 points and we win the group. Don't have to play that last 32 game. And we go straight into the last 16, people. And big up to everyone for tuning in on this Thursday. Hope you are well. Lots to talk about today. Transfer news, press conference reaction. Aubameyang's been saying a few things as well on this BT Sport advert. And a few other bits and bobs as well, people. Big up to everyone in the chat. Hope you are well. Appreciate you tuning in. Sam, be sure. Listen. Big up to everyone, though. Hope you're well. Jake said hello. Nimbo, big up the Cone Unit. Cone Man Music, man. Wagwan C Unit says Ramon. Big up yourself, Kmar. Cruise Unit said GD. Abby said big up all. And Oba is poking the bear. Ah, man. Agent Oba. You know what? Before we get into today's show, Oba definitely firing shots. They must have given him a nice paycheck to come with that because... it definitely hypes up the game, that is for sure. Let's start off. A little shout out today. It's only right, people. It's only right in more ways than one. Happy birthday to this legend. Ian Wright, birthday today. You know what? Every now and then I have to big up a legend when it's their birthday. You know, Wrighty for me, I got to be honest, was probably the first player that really gave me that connection to Arsenal. I would say he was the person that sort of drew me to Arsenal. And obviously there was a continuation throughout the years. But Righty, major figure. Met him when he played for Nottingham Forest, actually, for a short spell. He was there for 6 months on loan. But obviously watching him and Kevin Campbell, obviously good friends with Kev, and then, man, there was really the connection for me and the reason to go and support Arsenal. I think I've said it many times that, you know, my dad's a Liverpool fan. He wanted me to support Liverpool, you know, Jamaican connection, John Barnes and all of that. But Arsenal was always the club for me. And Righty, Campbell, you know, seeing those two up front. And then, you know, I loved Anelka, Burkamp, Thierry, all of them. So happy birthday to the legend. The one and only Ian Wright, for sure. Let's go from an Arsenal legend of a striker to one that could have been an Arsenal legend of a striker if things worked out a little bit different. But, I mean, I can't even play this whole video, right? Because, unfortunately, the foolish copyright business they're dealing with. But, listen, if anyone has seen this BT Sport advert of Aubameyang. And big up Anthony, by the way. Let me just big up Anthony because he did say his birthday was today. Happy birthday, bro. It's his birthday today, the same day as Righty. Always been proud that I share it with Righty. Is the reason I became a Gooner in the early 90s. Big up the Scorpios. Big up Anthony. I remember you said, I think you were saying you was going to Amsterdam. So big up you, bro. This video, I mean, what's my opinion on it? Listen, ultimately, he doesn't play for the club anymore. But when BT approached him to do this video, he would have known this is going to cause a stir. And he was obviously more than happy to cause it. I mean, I'm just... Maybe if I do it like this, I can get away with it without really playing it. I mean, Oba does the front flip, turns blue. He says nothing personal. Oba, tell you something. I was a big fan of this guy, you know. I'm back and I'm blue, he says. Woo! Let me tell you now. You've stirred the pot now. You've stirred the pot, I'm telling you. Oh, no. He's, I get why he's done it. I get why he's done it. He's a Chelsea player. BT must have given him a nice check. It's a bad boy advert, you know. It's a bad boy advert, I can't lie. But I'm a little bit fuming. I'm a little bit fuming, people. I'm looking at him hella sideways now. I'm like, yo, you've left the club. We done a lot of good things for you. You don't do that advert. If BT come to you with that, you got to say, yo, brother, you know what? I've got a lot of love for Arsenal. They gave me a great opportunity. Gave me 300 grand a week. I had great times there. I've got them tattooed on my arm. I can't do that advert. Man did the front flip, said nothing personal, but I'm blue. Man's turning it into Bloods and Crips. It's all mad, people. I don't, yeah, Kems, I apologize. It's too late to apologize. Oh my days, this guy. Nah, it's beef. We're going to war on Sunday. I'm sorry, listen. I'm holding my hands up. I'm going on full screen. I defended this guy to the end at Arsenal, you know. It's a cold advert, Ian. Let's not lie. If we signed a player from Chelsea and they did it the other way round, I'd be going mad about that. But you can't do that if you're Oba. Like, oh no. Listen, he's added spark to the game. It's like a boxing match, you know. They talk smack before the fight to sell tickets. Ultimately, he's talking smack before the fight. It is what it is. We're going to war on Sunday. I don't care. We're going to war. It was a big game anyway. It's going to make people even more hyped. To be honest, Oba might even be on the bench. So who cares? But it just makes me want to win. Even more. Sheets of Metal said, think Aubameyang wants to stick this to Arteta or Arsenal. Listen, I think it's Arteta, but obviously he knows what he's doing with that advert. Yeah, he does. He's hyping it up. He may not even start for them. He started last night for them. He didn't look great. Dio said, I really hope he features so we can pocket him and win the game. Sick video, but there's clearly no loyalty here. I just think for me, like I said, if we signed a player from Chelsea and he did that advert, I'd be gassed because I'd be like, yo, you're throwing that kind of shade on your former club. I just think he went a bit too far with it, you know. I think, yeah, you got a problem with Arteta. We all understand that. You're going to be motivated on the pitch. You're going to want to score. I feel like he's throwing shade on Arsenal with that. But it is what it is. I don't mind, you know. I don't even get too caught up on things like this. I just look at it like, you know what? Forget all the talking. Go and smoke his team on Sunday in their own stadium and handle business. That's it. Handle business. Oba has actually made it possible to forgive Fabregas. I've said for 10 years, and I stick by this, I had no problem with Cesc Fabregas going to Chelsea. And a lot of Arsenal fans go crazy when you say that. I've said many times I've got no problem with Cesc Fabregas going to Chelsea. And I tell you why. He left Arsenal to go to his boyhood club, Barcelona. You can't be angry with that. They were the best team in world football. And we had the buyback clause and Wenger said no. Barcelona said, you're going. He said, I'm going back to Arsenal, and Wenger rejected him. What do you want the guy to do? He's in his late 20s. Barca want to sell him. Arsenal have got the buyback, and Wenger was too stubborn to buy him back because he had Ramsey and Ozil. Mourinho came knocking. He couldn't say no. At least when Cesc scored against Arsenal, he never celebrated. And he admitted in an interview he thought he was coming back to Arsenal until Wenger rejected it. So me personally, I never have had that same problem with Cesc Fabregas. And you can tell that Cesc is a gooner. But listen, it adds fuel to the fire. So let's keep it moving. Samuel said Curtis saying that Jordan did an Eddie Nketiah substitute appearance on Talk Is Cheap was hilarious. I mean, you know, big up Jordan each and every time. It was similar to Eddie. Enthusiasm, a lot of running. But, you know, the end product wasn't quite at my level. No, really. Hey, Jordan, I'm joking, my bro. Nah, Jordan's my guy, man. But, you know, I had to throw a bit of banter on him. But big him up each and every time. Let's get Oba off the screen. Listen, I'm always somebody in football that I say I want personality in football. I think when you look around football now, the game lacks personalities. You look at the managers, you look at the press conferences. You know, we talk about waffle settings, but I think a lot of the time it's all media training. It's all saying the right things. And, you know, I don't mind it when players and managers are a little bit over the top and say certain things. So, you know what? I'm not even defending Oba because I think he's wrong for doing that. But personally, it don't bother me that much because I think, you know what? In football, in anything, do your talking on the pitch. Yeah, David Luiz said London is red after he won the FA Cup. Go to the bridge, beat him, put him in Saliba's back pocket, And we'll do our celebrating shamelessly on their pitch if we win the game at the end of the day. I don't really care about a BT Sport advert, in my opinion. I think we go there, handle business, shut him down. Jesus hopefully bags. We beat him and we keep it moving. You know, the fan base will probably turn on him because of it. But it is what it is. It's football, it's entertainment, it's business, it's sport. I don't get too emotional about all of it, to be honest. But yeah, it is what it is, people. Just winning, he'll quietly drive off in that Lambo, man. You know what I'm saying? So let's concentrate on us. Anyway, let's move on. Forget that guy. We got to win a game tonight. And it's an important game. On paper, it just looks like FC Zurich at home, bottom of the group. We're top of the group. We should batter them. Football doesn't work like that. And ultimately, we need to make sure we win the group so that we don't have to play another 2 games in the Europa League in February. If you finish second, you can potentially play against the Champions League dropout. Now, we saw last night, just for confirmation, people, obviously the Champions League finished the group stage last night. We now know the teams that have come third and dropping into the Europa League. So we've got Ajax, Bayer Leverkusen, Barcelona, Sporting Lisbon, FC Salzburg, Shakhtar Donetsk, that's Mudryk, so we may get to see him, Seville, and Juventus. So some big teams dropping down, some difficult games there. I know a lot of people have said in the comments before that, you know, Barcelona are not the same, Juventus are not the same. You still wouldn't want to play a team like that early in the Europa League, especially when we can see that our squad is fully stretched at the moment. And for those asking, we're doing a watch-along tonight. I'll be live at 7:30 tonight, 8 o'clock kickoff, so join me for that. Looking forward to it. Should be a big game. Should be a victory, let's be honest. But yeah, some big teams dropping into the Europa League this year. Last year, it was Frankfurt Rangers final. I think this is a mini Champions League, to be honest. I wouldn't want to play Barcelona over 2 legs, I tell you that much right now, because the thing with cup competition, you can go out in one night. You can have one bad 90 minutes and you're out. You know, if you go to the new camp and don't play well, Lewandowski can knock you out of the competition on one bad night. If you're playing against, just for example, in the Europa League tonight, looking at a team that's come in second, you could get Ludogorets in the next round. You can go Ludogorets, maybe not play well. You still get out of there with a draw or whatever. So Barcelona, Juventus didn't look too bad last night against PSG either. So those games will be difficult. It doesn't matter. They know how to manage these cup competitions. Jake said Tottenham will get PSG on Monday. We are doing Champions League and Europa League draw watch along on Monday. I believe the Champions League draw is at 12, Europa League draw is at 1. We'll then do a regular Monday show at 2 o'clock where we'll be reviewing the Arsenal against Chelsea game from the day before. So it's going to be about 3 hours. We'll be live on Monday, people. So make sure you keep it locked. We got big streams on Monday. Anyway, let's move on. Couple of bits and bobs to talk about. Who'd have thought we'd be seeing this, by the way? This is a picture. For those who are listening in, I will explain. But the Player of the Month nominations in the Premier League for October, and Granit Xhaka. Oh, my days. I can't believe it. I'm having to rub my eyes. He might even be shushing me with that shush picture. You know, you're giving me all that slander now, look. 8 nominations. I don't think he'll win it, to be honest. Almiron, Kepa, Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno Guimaraes, Erling Haaland, Trossard, Trippier, and Granit Xhaka. But listen, fair play. I'm delighted for Granit. He's had a tough time at Arsenal. He's starting to win the fans over. He's starting to put in quality performances. And he deserves this nomination. Do I think he's going to win Player of the Month? Probably not. I think that probably, looking at that, you'd probably say Haaland, or Almiron's had a fantastic month as well. I think maybe one of those guys will win it. Trossard's done well. But yeah, I think I do think he deserves to be nominated for that. And like I said, these are pictures that you never expect to see. So fair play to Granit Xhaka. Also, Mikel Arteta has been nominated for Manager of the Month, and also Thomas Partey has been nominated for goal of the month. Something, again, that I never thought I would see. This is the guy that used to hit pigeons on the top of the stadium. So, great news for Arsenal. Xhaka nominated for player of the month. Partey nominated for goal of the month. And Mikel Arteta nominated for manager of the month. It shows that the club are doing something right. And I agree. I think Almiron, Eddie Howe will win manager of the month as well. Because, listen, Newcastle are doing exceptional at the moment. Let's give them their credit. Anyway, let's move on. People. Let's talk transfers. People saying Fabrizio's tweeted. I mean, the thing that he's tweeted, to be honest, is something that's in the press conference. So I'm not really going to bring it up. He's referring to what Arteta said, something in his press conference about potentially bringing in a new player. So I'm not going to go for that story yet because that's all going to be in press conference reaction. But I'm just going to talk transfers before we move on, people. We all like to talk transfers and talk about players that could potentially be joining us. Now, a story coming out today, Ryan Taylor of the Daily Express Sport has come out with this story about Danilo from Palmeiras. A player that we were linked with in the summer and a player that we've been linked with for a while, saying that Arsenal are serious about signing 21-year-old Palmeiras defensive midfielder Danilo, who has been a subject of extensive scouting. The deal was considered in August alongside Douglas Luiz, but the Brazilian club did not entertain a mid-season sale. Edu is reportedly behind the interest. Now, just to give you a little bit more context into this deal, if it was to happen, the full story says that Arsenal sent scouts to Brazil last week to go and watch Danilo for his team Palmeiras. Apparently, the game didn't actually go very well. His team were losing 1-0. He was substituted at half-time, and they won that game 3-1. So it wasn't a great game for him to actually be watched in. But their season, if they win their game next week, they've won the title. Their season finishes in 10 days. And it is believed that Palmeiras would be more willing to sell him in the January window than they were in the summer because their season finishes in November. He's been called up to the Brazilian squad twice, although he hasn't yet made an appearance. He's not likely to go to the World Cup, although he is on the fringes. He's made 31 appearances this season for Palmeiras. His team are top of the league, and one victory on the weekend will secure them their league title. They didn't win the Copa Libertadores, which is the South American Champions League. That was won by David Luiz's side, I believe, Flamengo. So what do you guys think about it? Apparently, they want £26 million for him. They want the majority of the money paid up front. He's 21 years of age. He's made over 137 appearances for his team. Would you go for him? I mean, I said yesterday, people, that number one, I haven't seen enough of him. So I can't really say this is the guy we should go for in January because I honestly don't know how good he is. I'm going to put a poll up. Would you sign Danilo in January? Or do you think there's a better option? I mean, I suppose I could be contradicting myself a little bit here. I did say yesterday that I don't think Arsenal should sign anybody who's an experiment. I think we need somebody who can come in and hit the ground running. Now, my worry with this guy is that how quickly is he going to adjust to the Premier League? He's only played in the Brazilian league. He's never played for Brazil, so he hasn't even been on the international scene. It's a tough one for me. Like, it wouldn't be the top of my list. And because I haven't seen enough of him. Anybody in the chat who's seen more of him, let me know. Any information you know about him. Raul said Tim Vickery was giving great reviews about Danilo on Sky Sports. I think Tim Vickery said he's the best midfielder in the Brazilian league. I don't know how good the quality of midfielders are over there, which is the problem. Tanabik said he is highly rated in Brazil. We have been watching him for over 18 months. I trust the scouting. I trust the scouting most of the time until I see Runarsson and Cedric Suarez and Pablo Mari and a few others. But most of the time. OGD said, sign him, Curtis. I think because of Brazilian influence, he will settle real quick. We do have a nice little Brazilian connection there now. But ultimately, it's the Premier League. The Premier League don't care if 7 of you speak Portuguese in the dressing room and it's easy for you to settle in the club. It's about how good are you in the Premier League. Can he deal with the speed? Can he deal with the physicality? How does he deal with De Bruyne's and Fabinho's and Casemiro's and, all these midfielders? You're going up another level. So it's interesting. Marcel said, Curtis, my boss is from Brazil. He's a Palmeiras fan. He said, Danilo is a good player, but he's far from the finished product. And that's my worry a little bit. Is he somebody that we sign and, in 6 months he becomes a really good player? For me, I'm going to be totally honest, right? I'm going to be totally honest. I would not, in my opinion, I think we need a midfielder in January. I would go for somebody more established because of the position that we're in. Yeah, maybe you sign him for the summer, or I just don't think he's the answer to what we need right now. If Thomas Partey got injured, can Danilo step in and push us for a title challenge? I think the question mark is too big. That's just my opinion. And I know that better, more established players may be more expensive. Milinkovic-Savic or someone like that's going to cost you a fortune. I just think we're in such a great position. I need somebody that's close to a certainty they're going to come in and be a top player. I just feel like he's a bit of a baby in football. He's 21. He's only played in Brazil. He's never played international football. I think he'll be a raw talent. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes these guys, they come to the Prem, they hit the ground running, and they're beast mode straight away, But I don't know. We'll have to see, people. Bellingham would be perfect. Yeah, you're going to need 100 million for him. But I agree, it would be. South African Gooner, we should go for Tielemans. I think the thing is now, I think they're looking for a more defensive-minded player, and that's why I kind of get the impression Tielemans won't leave until the summer. I think Arsenal may take him on a free. Chris said a friend of his is a youth coach in Brazil. He's a Palmeiras fan. He speaks very highly of Danilo, still developing. And everybody who knows about him says that little bit at the end. Danilo, very highly rated, still a bit raw, still developing, not the finished article. I don't know. Sometimes you take this risk and you sign a superstar. We could potentially sit there, wait a year. He could go somewhere else, blow up and be an £80 million player. And then we'll say, oh my God, why didn't we sign him for 26 million? So that's the risk you have to take. For me, put him on the list, but he wouldn't be top of my list. If I'm being honest, I would try and get somebody more established, somebody that can come into the team straight away. If you can't, then fair enough. I understand. AFC Gabson, I'm watching your live in class. Hey, make sure they don't catch you. Make sure you get your work done. But big up for tuning in. I appreciate it. C-Unit Business. Big up everyone watching on YouTube. 1,600 of you locked in. 34 of you on Twitch. Really appreciate C-Unit Business, people. Frankie de Jong, no brainer. 350 grand a week though, Wayne. You know what I mean? I don't think you're getting him out of Barca in January as well. He is playing. Remember we were linked with Gomes when he was in Brazil. Yeah, that's a good point. Could have got him earlier. Caicedo is the one I have to admit. I've been very impressed with him recently for Brighton. Wolves are 19th in the table. We should try and bid for Ruben Neves. He is established and Premier League proven. I'm a big fan of Ruben Neves. Hasn't signed the new contract yet at Wolves. And they don't even have a permanent manager at the moment. I think it would be a great time to go and disrupt a player at Wolves. Relegation battle. It's probably going to cost him starting for Portugal. So, yeah, I get you. I agree with that. Bruce said, big up Big C. We need someone who's ready because we are ready to challenge City now. Totally agree. Totally agree with you. Pep wants to win that Champions League. What did he do in the summer? It wasn't time to experiment. Wasn't time to sign. His experiment is Alvarez. You can have the experiment in your club, but he made sure Alvarez is the experiment. Haaland is the giant, the Ivan Drago. I'm going to do it right now. So if you sign Danilo in January, but you go and sign Ruben Neves, or you go and sign somebody of that level and quality, I could get my head around that. If you're signing one midfielder and it's Danilo, that feels very risky to me, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's what Arsenal did, though. Big up my brother, Broads. Hope you're well, bro. He said, man said C unit over education. Listen, people, like I said, long term, the hope is that we can build a business in the community. So maybe some of you will work together in the future, people. Some of you can edit and things like that, music, whatever. So yeah, man. Big up my bro Franny in the chat. What's poppin' community? Hit the likes for my boy. Make sure you go and follow him. He's doing great things at the moment on his channel in terms of the crypto stuff and that. And listen, we're living in crazy times now. Financial pressure. And all of this inflation, it's good to learn about these things. You know, I've learned a lot of Fran about crypto and things like that. I'm not saying, I'm not giving any financial advice, but it's good to know about it. So big up, go and follow him. He's streaming most days. And yeah, man, keep doing your thing, bro. Experiment Danilo and Caicedo experience. Yeah, for me, I'd be happy with that. AC said, do you need YouTube scouts? I'm your man. Listen, we can always do with information, man. Information and entertainment, as I say, people. Big up Stormzy with Murky FC. Yeah, man, he's got a partnership with Man United, Fulham, Adidas, and I forget the other company, but yeah, massive, making big moves there. That's what I'm saying. I respect people who get to positions of power and they try and use it for the greater good. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. So, yeah, big shout out to Stormzy, man. Mike in Perth said, Savage is not a 6, so who would it be? And this is what I'm saying. Like, the club seem to want a 6. So, yeah, Milinkovic-Savic, he's playing a lot more advanced now. He wouldn't be the answer in terms of that role. Again, that's why I don't think Tielemans... I think they will go for Danilo. I think they would have gone back for Douglas Luiz, because I think he would have been cheap and cheerful, Premier League experience, he's Brazilian. I think they're going to look at this Danilo. And I personally, from what I'm reading, I think Palmeiras are willing to let him go if you pay that £26 million and you pay the majority of it up front. So, I watched Locatelli last night. He was okay, but at times PSG were running him ragged in there. So maybe not. Maybe not for me. Listen, I got to be honest. I like this boy Caicedo at Brighton. He's impressed me this season. But we'll see, people. Yeah, watch along. So Sunday, Liverpool Spurs after the Arsenal-Chelsea game. So Sunday, get yourself locked in. We're here all day. Super Sunday on the channel. Although I could have a meltdown if, we lose. And then, but no, I think we're going to beat Chelsea. I honestly do. And tonight, 7:30, Arsenal against Zurich. Watch along. So keep it locked, people. We ain't playing no games. Anyway, let's move on. Let me end that poll, actually. Let me see what you think about the boy Danilo. Are you happy with him? How many of you have actually seen him play? 75% of you saying yes, 25% saying no. So I think sometimes as Arsenal fans, Sangari's another one. I thought he played well against Arsenal last week. I think we get into a situation where a signing is better than no signing. We're all desperate for signings. There's not much more exciting than bringing in a big player. We love it. We get gassed. So I think sometimes we're like, just sign him. Just sign him. He might be good, sign him. And don't get me wrong. I've said over the years that because of work permits, we missed out on a lot of Brazilians and Argentinians because they go to other countries in Europe because they weren't able to get work permits to come to this country. What you find is a lot of Brazilians were going to teams like Shakhtar Donetsk. And then when they came to the Prem, you would have to pay a fortune for them. So you do sometimes have to take these kind of chances and think, 26 mil, but are we in the position to take the chance? Let's see. I personally think we'll be all over him. And I think it's one, Edu's all over it. He seems to love a Brazilian. So we'll have to see. Big up Shaw's Super Sunday. Yeah, forget Sky Sports, man. That's meaty commentary. I'll be going crazy over here on Sunday. Keep it locked here on Sunday, people. Double watch along. We need a Gilberto Silva. Yeah, we need a Gilberto, not a Wellington Silva. Remember him? In fact, I just see a comment from South London's Finest about that. Tim Vickery said... Wellington Silva was the new Neymar. Yeah, you can't take everything that Tim Vickery says as gospel, that is for sure. Make sure you lit the likes, people. 1,800 of you in the chat. Can we get 1,000 likes? A little light-hearted warm-up show for the game this evening. Like I said, on paper, Looks like easy pickings. Zurich bottom of the group. We're top of the group. We should roll them over. A draw or a defeat could see us come second in the group, which would mean we have to play another round of Europa League action. 2 more games in February, which we certainly don't want. So we have to make sure we handle business. Oh, Joshua, it was you, yeah? Aubameyang, nothing personal. Yeah, we spoke about that at the start, man. It's added a bit more spice to the game on Sunday, that's for sure. It's gonna be a big game. Fitz, hope you're well, bro. Thank you for the super chat. With the emergence of Newcastle and now the top 4 are always improving. If we don't do what's needed in January, it'll be a mistake, extremely hard to recover from. What I said yesterday, and I don't want to sound pessimistic at all because we're in a great position. We got a great opportunity. Last January, we were comfortably in the top 4. Vinay did an interview in January saying the club is ahead of schedule. And what the club did after that was sign nobody in January and got rid of Aubameyang and Ainsley Maitland-Niles. They actually made us worse on paper. That clearly shows that the club's target last year was top 6. Just get back in Europe, get back in the Europa League. They had an opportunity to secure top 4. They didn't have the ambition to go and get it done. As much as it pains me to say it, Tottenham showed the ambition in January. They got Kulusevski and they got Bentancur and they got top 4. That should have been our Champions League spot. But the club sat on their hands and didn't move. Now we're in a position where, unbelievably, we're in a title race. At this moment in time, we're in a title race. Can we win it? Who knows? Maybe we don't have the squad. Maybe Man City are too good. But right now, we're in a title race. What we need to see from Vinay, from Josh, from Edu, from Arteta, we need to see ambition. We need to see the club say, you know what? We're in a position we didn't expect to be in, ahead of schedule. We've got an unbelievable opportunity here because outside of Man City, I don't think anybody really looks like winning the title, apart from Arsenal at this moment in time. Why don't we go for it? Rather than saying, oh, you know, let's just get top 4 this year and we'll go for the title next year. We might not be good enough to get anywhere near the title next year. Man U will spend a fortune. Chelsea will spend. Liverpool will try and bounce back. City will go again. It could be 10 times more difficult next season. So I just think, and like we've said so many times, build from a position of strength, a position of power. Don't sign when you're desperate. Sign while things are going well. Everyone's on the up. Guess what? You might go for a player in January that might not have wanted to come to Arsenal, might have thought, Arsenal aren't quite good enough. They might look at Arsenal now and go, you know what? Arsenal are top of the Prem. They're playing fantastic football. Arteta's being linked with a Barcelona job. Saliba's in the French squad. Gabriel's just signed a new deal. Partey's firing. Jesus, Martinelli, Saka, that looks like a team I would want to go and play for. You might be able to actually get a high level of player now due to the way things are going. Rather than trying to sign a player, you know, when you're 7th in the league and you look like you're a bit of a mess. So my advice to Arsenal is please, and the fan base, I know it's difficult and we don't think, sometimes we don't realise how powerful the fan base is. Keep making that noise, keep putting that pressure on the football club, you know, and people who've got platforms and all these things. The club need to understand we're in a great position. If we sit on our hands, we can blow it. If we move forward, we can achieve something great this year. Who knows what that is? But like Fitz said earlier, Newcastle aren't going to mess around for long. I'm telling you. If Newcastle get in Europe this year or get anywhere near the Champions League, you wait until that checkbook comes out. Because I remember sitting here when Man City were doing this, and I used to go to the Emirates and Arsenal fans were going, oh, Man City, mate, it'll take them 20 years. Their history's not that good. Their stadium's only just been built. They haven't won anything. We ain't got to worry about Man City. It'll take 20 years for them to overtake us. Now look at Man City. They're the best team in this country. They got the best manager in world football. Within, 5-6 years of that money coming in, it started to shift. They started signing our players, you know. So let's not sit and look at Newcastle like, oh, it's only Newcastle. All of a sudden, they'll be up there. They'll be trying to win the league. Why Always Me said, Big C, I would take that guy, Mitoma from Brighton. He's looking great and cheap after they sell Trossard. He will be the next big thing. I don't even know him. Honestly, don't know him. But big up Why Always Me. MO7 said, facts, Big C said it perfectly. Well, it's nice when people agree. But yeah, listen, we just got to keep moving. Some people say sometimes, you're top of the league, everything's going well. I'm saying, listen, I want to stay top of the league. I want to stay right next to Man City. I want to be there in April and May, going head to head, trying to win the league. Man City against Arsenal at the Emirates, and we're a point clear. And I want that kind of energy. I don't want to say, oh, remember when we was top in November, but by February we were fifth and hanging on to top four because we didn't sign anyone. So keep moving forward, people. We have to put that pressure on this club. We put enough emotion, enough time, enough money into this club. We've been patient. I want to start seeing things. Clement said, good morning, C-Unit and the Nation. We are linked with Danilo, Okafor from Salzburg and Mudryk, which is between us and Real Madrid. I mean, it's interesting that Mudryk now is obviously out of the Champions League. And we could potentially play against them in the next round of the Europa League. So let's see how good he really is. Anyway, let's have a look at press conference reaction, people. It's lunchtime. Let's get some waffle out. He's all smiles, Mikel. He's enjoying life at Arsenal. Barcelona being linked with him. New contract 6 months ago. Top of the Prem, top of the Europa League. Everything's good right now, He's chilling. He wasn't smiling a lot of the time last year. Granite Xhaka's in the chat. He said, I'm going to be honest here, Curtis. I'm going to Newcastle next season. Money talks, people. I'm telling you. I remember specifically, I sit next to this old guy in the North Bank, and he used to say, Man City will take them 20 years, mate. They was in the Championship not long ago. Blah, blah, blah. And within 5 years, they were snatching our players, Nasri, Adebayor, winning the league, and now look, we can't even, at the moment we're close to them, so we have to be careful. The fans forgive the club too much. Listen, as a fan, naturally, you love your club, so you forgive them, and you always want the best for them, but sometimes it means kind of applying pressure and saying, listen, we want more. Yeah, you're top, but stay top. Being top in November means nothing if you're fifth in February. Make sure we're top in April, so let's see. Nyamin Waffles, sipping syrup, top of the Europa group, toast on this Coman music. Big up man like Elliot Roberts, big up people. Ivan said, we need big names now. We are Arsenal. I'm fed up with sideman signings. We need proper play. I'm telling you, go and get big boys now. Get a signing that gets us excited. Get a signing that makes you want to print his name on the back of your shirt. That's what we need at Arsenal now. I remember when we signed Alexis, it was, oh my God, this guy's going to explode. Remember the Aubameyang announcement, with the flashy red light going through his hair. I was like, what a signing. Who's the last Arsenal signing that made you feel like that? Oh my days. Like even Gabriel Jesus. I love Gabriel Jesus, I was very happy when we signed Gabriel Jesus, but I wasn't going crazy. I'm not going to cap. When we signed Alexis, right, I was in the car, and I remember they announced it on the radio, and I was shouting in the car because I love this guy. I remember him from playing in Italy. I was like, please, when we were being linked with him, I went mad. When we signed Aubameyang, I went crazy. We haven't signed that level of player for a long time, let's be real. Thomas Partey was big. I wasn't spinning around like Robbie, but I was gassed. I can't lie. I was gassed. But Sanchez, Oba, them ones there had me going mad. Ozil, yeah, different level of celebration when we brought them players in. We need one of them. We need one of them where we're all going crazy. But anyway, let's move on. Mikel Arteta. Thursday night sees us take on FC Zurich at the Emirates. By the way, I just wanted to let you know, anybody who's in London or not far, there are tickets available. I got an email this morning actually saying, and it looks like there's quite a lot of tickets. And I think some of the tickets are quite cheap. I saw tickets for as little as like £20. So if anybody is close to London or you don't get many opportunities to go to the games, I know that there are a number of tickets available for tonight. So if anybody wants to go, get on the Arsenal website, get yourself down there. Let's see what Mikel Arteta had to say. Obviously, we know that a few of our injured players were back in training yesterday. Saka, El Neni, Zinchenko, all back. He was asked about the fitness of Saka, Elneny and Zinchenko. He said they are at different stages, obviously. Mo had a long-term injury, is recovered now in a really good way. He's been training with the team for a week or two now. Alex is just very recent. He's had 2 training sessions. Bakayo just missed 1 or 2 sessions and was fine today. So just kind of reading into what he said there, I would imagine that Zinchenko won't be involved tonight. Probably Elneny will, and probably Saka will, whether they're on the bench or they start. Magoo said they were meant to train and tube strike, so tube strike, so a lot of people may be struggling to travel to the game. Cole said, would you take Dimitri Payet on loan? Nah, not now. Payet is a player that I absolutely loved when he played for West Ham. I wanted him then. I mean, he was on the bench for 90 minutes the other day for Marseille. Sadiq said, I was gassed about Jesus. I watch a lot of City games. I knew how good he was. He was one of the biggest signings we've had in a while, but I can't lie, I still didn't celebrate that signing like Sanchez, Aubameyang and Mesut Ozil. They're the last 3 where I can honestly say I went crazy when we signed them. On whether Saka could be available tomorrow or today, this press conference was last night, he said yes. On whether Saka is getting enough protection from the refs, he said, I'm sure refs have looked at all the incidents, the amount of fouls that our front players are getting. It's their job to manage the situation in the best way. On whether he will raise it with the Premier League, he said, not here though. Whatever I do it with them. I think with Saka now, it sounds crazy, but when you're fouled a lot as a player, it means maybe one of 2 things. Number one, maybe you're a very good player, and people now, they're going to start clattering you. Or number 2, maybe you hang on to the ball too long. I'm not saying he does, but I remember Jack Wilshere, people used to say, he hangs on to the ball a little bit too long and gets clattered. But ultimately, players who dribble, they get fouled a lot. So I don't know. I don't know if the Premier League are going to do much to protect him. Countro said, I celebrated the Renarson signing. Oh, my day. Who sanctioned that signing is what I want to know. On Reece Nelson and Kieran Tierney's patience, he said, I think it says a lot about them and their understanding of each one's roles. Changes every week. You were talking about 2 players in the past. They played matches and somebody was on the bench. Doesn't mean they don't push. Absolutely the contrary. They were really pushing, doing their best. In the end, we have to make decisions. They've been respectful, and we all expect the players to be respectful when they're on the pitch. Yeah, for me, just people mentioning Saka. Saka, for me, should not be playing. He shouldn't be starting tonight, that is for sure. Prince said, you didn't celebrate the Jesus signing. You knew we were getting him for a while. It took long to announce it. Yeah, I think they took too long to announce it as well. They kind of almost took the hype out of it by the time they actually announced him. And then the announcement wasn't even that great. On Jesus needing to make any adjustments, he said, if he makes 3 assists in a game, I don't think he has to make any adjustments. I would be really happy if he did that every game. Fair enough. Listen, I think we all want Jesus to score. But 3 assists is a huge contribution. It'll be interesting if he plays tonight, and as to whether he thinks he needs to play to get some confidence. Rest the poor boy's been flogged. Saving for Chelsea, man. Saving for Chelsea. I would imagine he'll put him on the bench as an insurance policy, though, just in case it's going wrong tonight. On being linked with the Barcelona job, he said, what I can say is that I'm extremely happy and proud to be where I am. Barcelona now are on a really good path. I think they have a phenomenal coach who is an absolute legend at the club and has lived the whole place. You have to be very respectful of that. Is Xavi a phenomenal coach? I'm not sure he's proved that yet. He was a phenomenal player. But listen, he's gonna say all this. Sadiq said, remember Cecil's announcement video was better than Arsenal's. I'm not even capping. Getting a top Brazilian player at 25 is like a Christmas present. Yeah, I hear you. But I think it was more because, if I'm being totally honest, when we signed Ozil, I think we were signing, at the time, possibly the best number 10 in world football. When we signed Alexis, he's just a player that, for his whole career since he's been in Italy, I thought that guy's going to be an unbelievable winger. And we took him to the next level. With Aubameyang, he was an unbelievable goal scorer, lightning quick. Let's be real, we signed Gabriel Jesus from the Manchester City bench. I'm not capping, we're being real. he was always a very, very good player, and I was excited to get him. But the circumstances that we were signing him from, it made me not as excited as the other three signings. But listen, that's not to say he can't become, a world-class player at Arsenal. 2K in the chat now, people. Brilliant support as always. And 42 of you on Twitch as well. Make sure you lick that like button. Tom G said, big up Curtis. I'm from Melbourne. I stay up every night to catch your streams. Really appreciate it, bro. Arsenal could be on tour from what I heard. I think they are going to tour Australia next summer. So you never know. We could be over there, sure, on tour. Anthony said, imagine Robbie doing that samba in the Jesus signing instead of Cecil. I'm telling you, that would have got a lot of views, Robbie. That is for sure. Big up Anthony. Let's skip through what he had to say. Mikel, he said, on Pablo Mari, first of all, he's in a really good place. We know how Pablo reacts to things. He's been really positive about everything that's happened. There are concerns, obviously, when you talk about issues that have happened in the last few months with footballers, wives, families, not only in the UK, but across Europe. It's funny. Well, not funny. It's like, is it tied in with inflation that all of a sudden times are getting more tough, money's harder to come by, footballers are being targeted. You're seeing rappers in America targeted, they're targets. People know they're financially secure. I think we need to raise our voices. We need to do something about it because it's not what we want. We need to feel safe. Everyone deserves to feel safe, and we need to do something about it. I think a lot of these top players, they probably need to have security constantly, to be honest. Clement said, comb my music, waffles and syrup. Yeah, man, we're here, people. Fabio said, Real Madrid want Gabriel Jesus. Is it paper talk? Surely they would have got him last summer if they felt they could. They're not going to get him now. He's in an even more difficult situation for them to get him now. On whether he feels a responsibility to protect his players ahead of the World Cup. He said, every day I feel responsibility to protect them, to guide them and get the best out of them. They are playing for Arsenal at the moment. That's why we need to focus on. That's what we need to focus on. Then when they're playing for England or their national teams, they need to focus on their national team. Yeah, man, listen, they have to focus on Arsenal now. The World Cup is a different thing. So make sure we handle business. On whether any of his players are starting to focus on the World Cup, he said, no, and I don't want to notice any of that. I agree. I don't want to hear no talk about the World Cup. Win these games first, then go and enjoy that. On whether he will field a strong team on Thursday. What a question that is, man. Like, what do you want him to say? Oh, yeah, I'm going to play my reserves. No, obviously. I don't approach games thinking that after half an hour or 45 minutes we'll get the results. Certainly, I will have a competitive team out. We missed a chance in Holland last week, and Thursday is the last opportunity. RP takeoff, 100%, man. Big C, I think Arsenal needs to come to Jamaica for a tour. That would be epic. That would be epic, man. I would love to come to that. On whether we would be supportive of playing friendlies during the World Cup. He said, yes, we will have friendly matches for sure. We are arranging them. We need to because we're going to have 10, 11, 12 players here, and we need to have that competition. He then goes on to say on whether preparations during the World Cup could be crucial. He said, yes, they can, but there is an element that we're not going to be able to control what is going to happen at the World Cup with our own players. Certainly with the players that we have here, it will be like another pre-season before we get into a new season. And obviously, reports going around at the moment that Arsenal are going to go to Dubai for about 10 days to 2 weeks to do a little mini pre-season. The story going around at the moment is that Arsenal are going to play 2 friendlies in Dubai, then fly back to London and play a friendly in London before they restart for the World Cup. I think we're due to have about 12 players that aren't going to go to the World Cup. And obviously there could be more, Ben White, Gabriel, Martinelli, Jesus, Magalhaes. There's obviously question marks whether they get picked. So there could be more. So, yeah, they could be on their way to Dubai for a little mini pre-season. While the World Cup is going on. David said, imagine an upgrade on Gabriel Jesus because he is still on 5 goals, by the way. Arsenal with a world-class striker could be useful for a title-winning side, and the lack of squad depth for Arsenal is there for all to see. And this is what I keep saying is that I think that we need another striker. A lot of people are pointing to Gabriel Jesus, and I understand that because ultimately he's got 5 goals in the Prem, and I think he should have about 10. But I think what's worse is we don't have the ability to rotate him, because ultimately Eddie is not going to do any better. He's a big drop off, and we need a different option for somebody that can maybe play alongside him at times, or give us a plan B. Or you could, Jesus played wide at times for Manchester City, which I'm not saying I want him to play wide, but as I keep saying, I would love an Ivan Toney. I would love somebody different to give us that physical option. Chris said Jesus has 10 goal assists in the Prem, by the way. And this is what I said the other day on Talk is Cheap when, I did put up a little 5-minute defense of Gabriel Jesus. I said, ultimately, what you want from your striker is to contribute goals to the team. Now, we do judge strikers on the amount of goals they scored. That's just the reality. Haaland is setting the bar so high now that everyone looks a little bit like you're way off it, because he's got 17 goals already in the league. But if Jesus contributes 27 goals to Arsenal this season and he gets 15 goals and 12 assists, I'll take that. If he gets 20 goals and no assists, or he gets 15 goals and 12 assists, I would rather he got 15 goals and 12 assists. There have been seasons where Aubameyang's won the Golden Boot and we finished 8th. Yeah, it's great. A striker got the Golden Boot, but we ain't playing Champions League. Jesus ultimately has made Arsenal a better team and a better attack. Do I think he should be scoring more goals? 100%, because purely he's had big chances. And we saw last week against Southampton, there was an opportunity to win that game and we didn't take our chances. But as I said the other day, Jesus has never scored more than 15 league goals in the Premier League. So how do we know that Jesus is a prolific goal scorer? There's no evidence to suggest that Jesus is a 20, 25 goal a season striker. I think if he comes here and he gets 15 goals and he gets 8, 9, 10 assists, I think that's a productive season for him. He's got 5 assists in the Premier League already. So there's no reason he can't get double figures, goals and assists, which I think will be good. If he gets 15 goals in the Prem and gets double figures assists, I think that's a fantastic season. Clement said it will cost us a pretty penny to sign Mitrovic and Toney from Brentford, but I would take either one. Yeah, and listen, they're just 2 that I keep clutching at. There may be other options out there that we could go for, but those are just 2 at the moment that seem to spring to mind. Interesting, Giroud last night scored 2 goals in the Champions League. He's been a fantastic signing for AC Milan. King said, to be fair, Jesus, Curtis, Arsenal have scored 30 goals in 12 games. Last season, we only scored 61 in 38. We're averaging 2.5. That's 95 goals out of 38 on average. It reminds me of Firmino when Liverpool were elite, and that might be the role that he plays. He may be the guy that causes havoc, sets up goals, links up play, chips in with goals, and improves the 2 wingers. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully he can bag tonight, though. On the decision to take Saka off against Forest, the conversation was about whether he was in or out, but in between, we cannot have him playing 5, 6, 7 minutes. If you're on the pitch, go and sit on the floor and get off. Man said, just get off. On whether Bakayo was trying to push through, he said, for sure, but we had to make a decision. Couldn't delay a situation like that. Every minute a player is not 100%. It's costing the team. We have to make those decisions quickly. On Bakayo wanting to play on, even with a World Cup, he said, we're using our brains and our common sense. Obviously, he had a kick. He wasn't comfortable. We made a decision to get him off. Now he's feeling fine. We'll assess each individual. Happy Independence Day, Dominica. Come on, man. Big up, Brent. Hope you're well. Big up everyone who celebrates. And yeah, man, happy Independence Day to all Dominicans. Double figures will be amazing. There's no doubt Jesus, for me, will get 15 goals this season. In the Prem, as long as he stays fit. And I think he'll get double figures assists. I'm more than happy if he gets 15 goals and 10, 12 assists. That's a great season. Amaru, big up for the super chat. Big C, new to your channel, love the content. You speak the truth. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Listen, I always say I'll say it as it is on this channel. And sometimes people don't like that, but you know, we say it as it is. It's an open platform. I respect people's comments. And yeah, welcome to the community, man. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and all of that good stuff, people. David said, I was upset at Oba going to Chelsea, but this video proves the character of the guy. Waste, man. Listen, we spoke about it at the start. And I said that I'm disappointed with Oba putting that video out because he knows that the comeback from that video. But ultimately, I'll be honest, it doesn't bother me that much. I'm more concerned about Arsenal going there and beating Chelsea. That's the best way you shut him up. You know, we can say things back to him, we can boo him, we can say things, we can get angry. We got to win the game. That's the only way you answer him. That's the way you keep him quiet. Win the game, celebrate in front of him, shut him down. We're top of the league. We're flying. Jesus is flying. We're a Chelsea, 4th, 5th. You're struggling to get a goal. That's the way you answer these players, you know. I'm not too angry with it. I'm going to be honest because I like character in football. I'm not saying I like what Aubameyang's done. I totally disagree with it. But I like when Mourinho says things about other managers. I think it's entertaining. I think they want all these footballers and all these managers to be like robots now. You know, I like a bit of personality. But listen, let Oba do his advert. You've done your advert. If we win the game, he looks stupid, right? And Chelsea will be thinking, why'd you put that out and then lost the game? Let's handle business. Saliba, put a Aubameyang in your pocket. We go and beat them. And then we'll say, now what you saying, bro? What are you saying now? You know, so keep it moving. The goals will come for Jesus. Fans need to be patient. He's doing all the other things well. Agreed, Clement. Alberto, thank you for the super chat. Curtis, this is the first time in a long time I'm really not concerned about our game on Sunday at Stamford Bridge. And I don't know if... Like, I'm with you, Alberto. I don't know why I feel so comfortable about going to the Bridge. I don't know if I'm overconfident. But I've just got this feeling we're going to beat Chelsea on Sunday. I've watched Chelsea a few times. I think they're going to struggle to cope with our front three. And I think we'll win the midfield battle. Because in years gone by, they've had a prime Kante. They haven't got him anymore. I think we're going to beat Chelsea on Sunday. And I'll stick by it. I've said it all week. On balancing his team selection with Chelsea on Sunday... Said it's a challenge. We've been trying to load the players pretty equally over the past 5 or 6 weeks because we've been playing every 3 days. We've managed to do that. You've seen we haven't repeated too many blocks of 4 games for certain individuals. We'll try and continue to do that as everyone and keep everyone as fresh as possible with enough rhythm heading into the game. On whether we have the disadvantage with a day's less preparation than Chelsea, said we know that, and playing in the Europa League, we know this can be an issue, and that's it. It's a very early kickoff, which is a little bit unusual when you play on Thursday nights, but it is what we have. Listen, you're in the Europa League, you're going to have the disadvantage. That's the way football goes. Champions League clubs will get more rest. Yeah, never rated him anyway, that Oba. You know how it goes, people. You know how it goes. This shameless settings, man. We got Gabby Jesus. I want Jesus to score so bad against Chelsea after that video from Oba. Please, just run around doing the call me celebration. I tell you one thing. Do not let that brother score against us, by the way, on Sunday. At all costs, don't let that guy score. On how we'll watch the World Cup, he said... We'll be together having another pre-season, and for a long period we will be away from London. So we'll be together supporting our players. On how El Neni's return will allow Sambi to play further up the field. Listen, Sambi further up the field. I don't know what field. You better keep him off the field. I'm joking, by the way. Or am I joking? Maybe I'm not. That situation arose because we had Thomas Partey out, then we had Mo out, and we had to adapt the position of Sambi because he was our most natural player to do so. Now with Mo coming back, we have another position open. There we go. End of the waffle, people. Jesus to score and bang a front flip. Like, even if you're not good at the front flip, just have a go at it. Just do a roly-poly, you know. Don't risk the front flip in case you get injured. Just do a roly-poly and then put a mask on, you know. Put a Black Panther or a Spider-Man mask on, you know. But nah, yeah, Gunakai, I'm probably not joking, to be fair. Laurie will be coming for you. It's one of them, innit? But listen, let's not worry about Chelsea. We'll do previews and stuff for that from tomorrow. Let's not overlook the game that we have tonight. And let's quickly look at a potential starting lineup for tonight, people. We'll pick the team. Arteta, if you're not sure of team selection, just tune into this. We'll pick the team for you. We'll win the game. We'll make sure we're through. And it's a tough one because the reality is you don't want to risk too many players. You've also got to win the game because the reality is PSV play Bodo Glimt. I would expect them to beat Bodo Glimt, which means we have to beat Zurich. We can't draw. And we certainly can't lose. And anything can happen in a cup competition. You know, we only beat them, 2-1 away from home. We weren't massively convincing. So we're going to have to play a reasonable team, but at the same time, give some players a wash. A wash. Do you know why I said that? Because someone said, Obama washed Yang. Give some players a rest, I should say. Let's pick this team. Let's get this team sorted. Ramsdale will be in goal. Matt Turner's injured. We've got the young boy Hein, but apart from that, a draw is okay. I'm sure it said, am I getting this wrong? I'm sure it said if we draw and PSV win, that they can finish above us because their goal difference, they beat us by more than we beat them. I'm sure that's what I read, Lily. I could be wrong, but when I read it, it said if we draw and PSV win, they can finish higher than us. So we have to win. David said, what I meant, with an upgrade on Jesus, he becomes a squad player so Arsenal can rotate more so it's not a huge drop-off. Yeah, listen, and that's why I would bring another one in. For me, and you may not all agree with this, I'm playing Cedric at right back. For the simple fact that, number one, he's going to have to play it sometime. I mean, he's so bad, they haven't even given him a picture. They're doing him dirty here. What is going off? Cedric, Arsenal. Come on, where's he? There he is. He's appeared now. Listen, for me, Tomiyasu's playing a lot of football. He's been injured for a while previously to it. We know that he's in favour at left-back at the moment. I'm giving him a rest. We got Chelsea at the weekend, Raheem Sterling and whoever else plays out wide. So I'm putting Cedric in. He should be good enough to deal with FC Zurich. If not, there's no hope. Kieran Tierney will play at left-back. He needs football. This is where he'll get his football at the moment. For me, Rob Holding, right centre-back. You've got to rest one of the two centre-backs. And you go with Gabriel. Last week against PSV, we played Saliba with Rob Holding. What that meant was we had two right-footed centre-backs. Saliba went to left centre-back, and he looked a lot more uncomfortable, in my opinion, playing left side. Didn't have a great partnership with Rob Holding. So I'm going with that. Does anybody disagree? Cody Mystified said, you're mad. So I'm assuming you wouldn't agree with Cedric. I just think, for me, we need to rest some players. We need to rest some of them. And I would rest Tomiyasu for this game, and I would rest Saliba. Get a Cedric the Entertainer picture. He's back now. He is back. Midfield. Granit Xhaka is suspended, people. A few of you saying Xhaka and Lokonga in the middle. Granit Xhaka is suspended. 2 yellow cards in Europe. So he misses tonight's game. He won't be in the squad. Could be a blessing in disguise. Maybe he needs a rest. Keep him fresh for the game against Chelsea at the weekend. So no Granit Xhaka. I'm going to go with Sambi Lokonga and, if fit, Mohamed El Neni. I didn't realise until Arteta said in the press conference, he said he's been training for 2 weeks. If he's been training for 2 weeks, he should be fit enough to play. And he said in the interview, Sambi, in the 6th role. Well, El Neni will play in the 6th role. That gives Sambi the opportunity to go forward, which people keep telling me he's a number 8, he's not a 6. Okay, let's see then. Let's see tonight. Number 10 role, Fabio Vieira. Give Odegaard a rest. 35 million. I'm still questioning it. I'm still asking people at Arsenal if they've kept the receipt. Talented player, no doubt. Is he good enough to make an impact, a big impact? These are games he's got to be bossing these games for me. He's got to be looking head and shoulders above most players on the pitch. He's got to put pressure on Odegaard, and if he can't perform in these games, how's he going to get into the Premier League team? That is the question. Let's go with the two wingers. I think that he will play Martinelli for the simple fact that he did the press conference, although last week Jesus did the press conference and didn't start. I'm just thinking, you know what? I'm in two minds now whether I would actually play Martinelli. I'm just thinking, if you played Marquinhos and Ketia and Nelson, is that going to be strong enough to break them down? Do we need one of our kind of big three in that front line? Nelson on the right. Another good opportunity for him to boost his confidence and maybe get a goal. They're doing him dirty now on here. He's got no picture. Would you start with Gabriel Martinelli, or would you take the opportunity to rest him and play Marquinhos? People saying not strong enough, need to save Martinelli for Chelsea. Nelson, Eddie, Jesus. That would mean maybe Eddie plays wide. Reece, Kinos, and Eddie. Sambi brace tonight, people are saying. Martinelli was horrendous in the Europa League. Martinelli, Eddie, Nelson. For me, all right, I'm going to go with Martinelli because I think we need to try and finish the game off, right? I am going to play Nketiah, though. Maybe Jesus comes on later. I'm only going to play Martinelli because I think we need to finish the game off. If you can get 2-0 up by half-time, you can start taking people off. You got 5 substitutions in the Europa League. I was tempted to play Jesus to score to boost his confidence, but he put so much work in that I kind of feel like he needs a little bit of a rest. I get you, Martinelli, mate. I'm not playing Martinelli for 90 minutes. I'm trying to start him, get 2-3-0 up and drag him off half-time, 60 minutes. So that's what I would go with. If people think something else, let me know. Would some of you maybe play Odegaard? Would you play Marquinhos and Nelson out wide and rest Martinelli? I think, listen, they won their last game, Zurich. They beat Bodo Glimt, and Zurich have an opportunity. If they win tonight and Bodo Glimt lose to PSV, they would go into the Conference League, which I'm sure a club like Zurich will be desperate to stay in Europe for the finances, for the ability to rotate the squad. We are going to have to play a few. I mean, you look at it, Ramsdale, Gabriel, Tierney at times, and Martinelli, you would say 4 first-team players there out of the 11. I would like to think if we could go 2 or 3-0 up by half-time or 60 minutes, take off Martinelli, take off Gabriel, and give the other players a run out. So Fitz said the side is rank apart from 3 or 4 players, but should have enough to win. Where the problem is going to be for Arsenal this season is when we are into the knockout stage of the Europa League and you're potentially coming up against Champions League knockout teams who've been knocked out. If you get Barcelona, you get Juventus, you get Ajax, you can't turn up with that team that I just showed you. You're going to get slapped. You can't go to the new camp with Eddie Nketiah or Sambi Lokonga and Rob Holding through the middle of your team. You might as well not get off the plane. This is where I'm saying, for me, we need to sign 2 players at least in January, because if you can get Smith Rowe back, get Turner back, El Neni's back now, Zinchenko's back, and then get in maybe a centre midfielder and a winger, then we would have sufficient squad depth where you can bring in Smith Rowe for Martinelli. That's a good level. We need a centre midfielder that's at a high level to bring in. And for me, a striker or a winger. Let's get into a few of your comments before we round up. We've just gone over an hour. I will be back on at 7:30 tonight, people, for the watch-along. Arsenal against FC Zurich. Safi said, good evening, bro. I'm late. I need to know about Zinchenko's injury. He's back in full training. He's only trained for 2 days. I don't think he'll be in the squad, if I'm being honest. I think they'll try and get him ready for Chelsea, which I think would be the right thing. Bring Pepe back. I mean, he signed for the season on loan, and not even 500 likes. Come on, people. 2,000 of you in the chat. 38 of you on Twitch. Let's get 1,000 likes. Gold Gunner said Nelson, Marquinhos, Eddie as my front 3. Is it good enough? Hopefully, but I think one of the front 3 that we start in the league will start. I want to see Martinelli play as striker. I would like to see that as well. MD said we're 3 years into Arteta's reign and still this rebuild isn't done yet. It's a great point. That bench I would like to have thought would look a lot stronger than that after that long. The team looks very good. The squad, not so much. Listen, people, I'm out of here. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you join me 7:30 tonight. I'll put the thumbnail and everything up now for that game tonight. Important Europa League game. Maybe not the most glamorous on paper. 7:30, Arsenal against FC Zurich. And hopefully we win the game, win the group. And, of course, I'll be back on tomorrow to review the game and all of that good stuff. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday afternoon, people. Game tonight, 7:30, Arsenal against Zurich. Watch along. I will see you all soon, people. Bless.